Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants. We're exploring the online MBA. There are plenty of options out there, and our goal today is to help you find the right fit. To do that, we have three terrific representatives from three great online MBA programs, all in the Northeast of the United States. From Umass Isenberg School, we have Victoria Quill, the Graduate Education Recruitment Specialist. From Boston University's Questrom School, we have Erin Butt, the Admissions Specialist for the Online MBA. And from Northeastern University's McKim program, we have Haley Hostetter, Assistant Director of Learner Acquisition. Welcome, everybody. So let's start with the nuts and bolts, the nitty-gritty. You can tell us about your program, how long it's been around, how long it would take to generally complete it, and what level of flexibility is offered to students in terms of pacing, class selection, whether there's a concentration or not. Why don't we start with you, Erin?
Sure. Thank you so much, John, for having us here today. So the online MBA at Questrom has been around since August of 2020. Ironically, not a symptom of the pandemic, just a very conveniently timed launch for the program.
You're a bit of a newbie in a way. I know Northeastern recently revamped their program, but and they've had it around for a long time, but you're the newbie of the three.
We're relatively new on the scene, but we have seen quite a lot of growth for our program in the last 3 years, with our most competitive term being this past August entry that we just started, and continuing to grow more and more with each term. So we've been around since fall of 2020. It usually for our program takes anywhere from 2 to 6 years to complete, though we do see people kind of trending more towards the lower end of that spectrum. You can complete it in as little as 2 years, you have as much as 6 years, and there's quite a lot of flexibility if students need to take any time off. We call those leaves of absence. So there's a lot of flexibility in that sense to sort of complete the program at your own pace. There is no customization offered at this time. We actually offer our curriculum in sort of a modular format. So you have 6 modules that you take throughout the course of the program. Those are set. That is the same thing that everybody takes. But there is sort of some ability to customize with the capstone projects that our students do at the end of each module. And you do have the ability to engage in live sessions in our program. So there's a mix of both live, synchronous, as well as asynchronous content.
Great. And I should mention that rather than duplicate your residential or your part-time MBA programs, what the faculty at Questrom did was take out a white sheet of paper and ask themselves, okay, what should a modern MBA program look like? And we'll get into those modules and how they're different from a conventional MBA education in a little while. Now, Victoria, give us the lowdown on the Isenberg online MBA.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you, John, and thank you, poets&quants, for hosting this webinar today. Really thrilled to be here. The Isenberg Online MBA was launched back in 2001, so we've been around for over 20 years now. Our online MBA curriculum is the same high-quality curriculum as our on-campus MBA program, and many of our professors who teach on campus also are teaching online. All students will move through the same core MBA curriculum. It's 11 core classes. And we do have specialization options in business analytics, entrepreneurship, healthcare administration, finance, marketing, and sport management. Now, you do not have to decide a focus area coming into the program. You can decide that later on throughout your degree completion. So get your feet wet, start taking the core classes, and then later on decide on a focus area. On average, students are completing the program in about 2.5 to 3 years. You can take up to 4 years to complete the program, or you can fast track and complete it in 2 years. We really pride ourselves on being a flexible, asynchronous program, meaning no login time component, no required mandatory in-person visits to Amherst. We do have optional hybrid locations in Boston and Worcester if students do want to have some hybrid synchronous in-person sessions. But our online program is meant to be 100% online, flexible to meet the needs of working professionals. You can take as little as one class a semester, or if you wanted to do the program in a full-time capacity, you can take three classes per semester. We do offer fall, spring, and summer start dates with our core curriculum being offered every fall, spring, and summer. We do run on a traditional semester schedule, so 14 weeks in the fall and spring, 10 weeks in the summer, and then some additional flexibility to chip away your degree faster by enrolling in some accelerated classes during our summer and winter terms as well. So a lot of flexibility to complete this degree at whatever pace works best for you.
Great. Now, Victoria, you tossed off two phrases that may be unfamiliar to many who are just at the beginning of their search for an online MBA option: synchronous and asynchronous. And
yeah, I figured those were the words.
Yeah, and you described what asynchronous is, but I wonder, just for the audience, to help them, because they'll see these words constantly in the online space. So synchronous is essentially a live internet class or a live class in person in the case of a hybrid program, right? And then asynchronous is work that you'll do online without the need to be, I guess, present at a given time. So it could be a video lecture, it could be a class assignment, it could be posting to a board of some kind. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I always like to share too, I'm actually an online MBA student myself. And I'm taking finance, and even though it is a 100% online class, all of our professors have optional office hours, and many of them host optional synchronous sessions. And so I've been attending those optional synchronous sessions for finance like every other Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And it's a great way to, one, get to know my professor, get to know peers, and also work through problem sets in real time. And I really love that flexibility of the program, but those optional synchronous sessions are really helpful.
It's also worth noting for everyone that, office hours in online programs are actually attended by students who often seek them out. Every professor has obviously office hours, but more often than not, faculty find themselves sitting alone in their office in in-person programs, but in online programs, because people do want to get to know their faculty a little bit more, office hours tends to be attended. Haley, what's lowdown on the McKim program?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having us here today. I'm definitely excited to talk more about the program. But Northeastern has been in the online MBA market for over 15 years now. We were one of the first to jump into the online MBA space. But last year, we relaunched the program with an updated curriculum to really dial in on the critical skills needed to succeed in today's modern business world. So this relaunch allowed us to rethink also the way we operate online degree programs. I think we can all agree we've learned quite a bit from the pandemic in the last few years. And this relaunch allowed us to design a program that's more than just a simple copy and paste of our on-ground MBA, but rather develop a program specifically for an online learning modality. If you know anything about Northeastern, you'll know that experiential learning is our bread and butter. In our OMBA program, you could develop skills and expertise in what we call Expo. This is the idea that rather than taking classes involving projects, you'll be undertaking projects with classes built around them. On a more logistic end, to answer some of your questions, John, we prioritize flexibility so that folks can complete the program on their own terms. The program can be completed in as few as 18 months, although I'd say the average duration is probably about 2 to 3 years, depending on your personal needs and bandwidth. Our courses are built in kind of what you might think of as a mini semester. So instead of the traditional fall semester where you start a class in September and end in December, we have a fall 1 and fall 2, and then a spring 1 and 2, and a summer 1 and 2. And students can join us in the program at any of those 6 intake periods throughout the year. Continuing with this idea, go ahead.
What's the maximum time you can use to take the degree?
Yes, it's 5 years you have to complete the
Got it. So 18 months to 5 years is span.
Yeah, definitely gives you some wiggle room there to get all the classes in. But just to wrap up here, our courses are also 100% online and asynchronous, back to that asynchronous term.
Right.
So you can complete all of your required coursework whenever it works best for you. But if you are looking for more engagement, we offer live what we call Faculty Connect sessions each week. These are usually about an hour each week, led by our faculty. They are completely optional, so if you're busy one week, it is totally okay. But our students really appreciate these sessions as an opportunity to get to know their professor and fellow classmates on a deeper level, which we know is an important element of an MBA program. Yeah, most of our students usually choose to enroll in 1 to 3 classes per term. The number you take is up to you, depending on factors like your preferred graduation timeline, your personal life, work responsibilities. But throughout the program, you'll have access to our dedicated OMBA Success Manager, who will help you at the beginning of your experience kind of map out a graduation plan, and then she'll work with you to make any adjustments along the way as needed.
Great. I should emphasize that, the descriptions that have been made here just show you how flexible an online MBA program can be. And one thing you might consider is if, in fact, your employer would help you subsidize your education, the fact that you can stretch it out and go up to the limit of that subsidized number at work every year allows you to get more and more of the program paid for by your employer, if in fact they have that benefit available. Now, Haley, I wonder if you could tell us what the latest class profile is for your most recent admits.
Definitely. So we have a very diverse range of students currently enrolled in our program. A range in ages, backgrounds, industries, which we definitely believe is a benefit to everyone involved. I was thinking earlier, I a lot of times get questions from prospective students where they say to me, I don't have the traditional experience of an MBA student or an MBA applicant. Is it even worth my time to apply to the program? And to this, I always say yes. Here at Northeastern, we definitely believe that learning doesn't just come from the faculty. And having a class filled with different backgrounds and experiences foster rich conversations and might be able to offer different perspectives. I do encourage folks to use the personal statement and the application as an opportunity to highlight how they think their personal background may add a different perspective to things like a classroom discussion, for example. I did say that our students come from a range of industries, so just to wrap up, some of the top industries that our students are currently working in right now are technology, healthcare, finance and banking, government, education, and the military.
Great. So, Erin, what does your latest class profile look like?
Absolutely. So at Questrom, our class profile for the online MBA is going to look maybe a little bit different from some of our other peer programs. We really market our program as one that is designed more so for mid-career professionals. So for our past August 2023 class, average age of our student was 38. Average years of experience is about 12 and a half years of postgraduate full-time work experience. We had average GPA of about 3.2. So we have, very academically talented students for an academically rigorous program. We're actually about a third female to male ratio in terms of gender. We're about 80% domestic. And those are just some of the hard numbers. What I always tell students, though, is that in looking at these stats and comparing yourself to the class profile, at least for our program, this is just an average, right? This is just average statistics. And while we have sort of an idea of what maybe the ideal or average student looks like at Questrom, it's sort of your story to tell. We have a number of different industries represented, geographic areas, academic backgrounds, things like that. So what we're sort of looking for in crafting a diverse class is, what sort of quality and quantity of work experience are you bringing to the table? What are your short-term and long-term career goals? And are you able to articulate in your application how the Questrom Online MBA fits into those career goals? Because it's going to be different for everybody. In our program, we have people ranging from the age of 22 to 75. I'm serious. So it is truly quite a diverse class of people across industry, age, gender. academic background, etc. So that's something we are indeed very proud of. And again, this has been our most competitive class to date. So we're very, very proud of our newest students in the online MBA program.
Erin, I think I even fit into that range.
Yes. Come on down, John. We'd be happy to have you.
So Victoria, what's the class profile look like at your school?
Sure, I love that both Erin and Haley were mentioning about their programs being very diverse, and then also finding a program that meets your expectations and researching the student population. So our population is very diverse as well. We're a professional level program. We do require at least 3 years of work experience in order to accept applicants into the program. Our average years of work experience is around 11, average age then being close to Erin's around 37. And about 40% of our students are already holding advanced degrees, many MD, JDs, MS in engineering or education. So we have a very high caliber level of professionals in the program. And we require that work experience, and we look for individuals with professional backgrounds, because in the classroom, we're really looking for the virtual classroom, I should say. We're really looking for individuals to bring in their work experience into the classroom discussions, into their papers, and really relate what they're doing in the workplace to the content of the program. A little bit more about our statistics. We have our undergraduate GPA average of around 3.3. We do look for typically a 3.0 or better, but provide that holistic approach in reviewing applicants. About 32% of our online MBA population are healthcare professionals. Makes sense. We're all located in Massachusetts, which is a hub for healthcare. We also have a lot of strong partnerships with healthcare organizations and hospitals in the area. For example, we have partnerships with American Association for Physician Leadership, students and members, which provides them a direct pathway into our MBA. And similarly, we offer a partnership with Mass General Brigham, giving these individuals tuition benefits and benefits to accelerate their degree. So because of that, our top industries are healthcare, similar to Erin and Haley, financial services, technology, sciences.
Great. And I should say what you're hearing now is, if you join these programs, you're going to meet a diverse range of people from lots of different disciplines and industries. And it's going to really broaden and deepen your viewpoint about business and decision-making in a way that is really helpful. Now, talking about decision-making, what is your advice to a candidate who is looking at your program? How do they assess fit? And how do you assess fit for them in your program? So Victoria, let's stay with you and see if you want to answer that one.
Yeah, sure. I know that navigating the research process to figure out what program aligns best with your career goals can be incredibly daunting. And I feel like the best thing to do is to be attending these virtual sessions, to be connecting with recruitment or admissions advisors, just like myself or Haley, really trying to find the program that best aligns with your career goals, your professional goals. Most of our students in the program are working professionals, and they don't want to be putting their life on hold. So the flexibility is something that is important. Well, all three of our programs are providing you with that. Choosing a program that provides you the customization options that you want, should you want them. And if you're somebody who's still not sure, and testing the waters is something that might be of interest to you, we do offer certificate programs where they're pathways to the MBA. So you can test the waters with a 12-credit certificate at the graduate level in foundation management or business analytics, and those would direct transfer towards the online MBA, should you want to pursue it in the future. So I just always encourage prospective students who are still not really sure if the online MBA is for them to maybe consider that certificate.
Great. Erin, how do you assess fit?
Sure. So I'll kind of tackle both sides of the reciprocal assessment of value and fit. In assessing if our program is a good fit for you as a candidate, what I always recommend to people first is schedule an advising session with someone on our team. I do them every single day, as do my teammates. And we're happy to sort of chat with you one-on-one to answer anything from basic admissions questions to the application process to the curriculum. As John sort of alluded to earlier, the second thing that I would note is that our curriculum in Questrom's online MBA is quite different from other programs. It was something that we built from the ground up. It is modular in nature rather than taking individual courses in certain subjects. We wanted to sort of create this online MBA from the ground up, where we taught students key business themes and issues in the same way that business is conducted in everyday life, which is in an interdisciplinary format. So it is a little bit different from other maybe traditional online programs or residential programs. It may not be for everyone. I know that students that we have spoken to, we've gotten extremely positive feedback on the design of that curriculum. And I think for especially more experienced professionals, it really makes sense and clicks for a lot of people. But just make sure that that is something that is going to be of value to you in assessing our program fit. And then on the flip side of how we assess fit of a candidate for our program, as Victoria mentioned, similarly, we do a holistic application review process. I always tell candidates there's never one part of your application that's going to make or break your chances of admission. So we're looking at everything from your academic background to your quality and quantity of work experience to those short-term and long-term career goals. And we just want to make sure that you are going to reap value from our program. The reason sometimes people, ask us questions about why is your work experience average so high? As Victoria also sort of alluded to, we really want to make sure that because this is a program geared for professional development, that you're going to be able to contribute to class discussions, to live sessions, to discussion board posts and things like that with actual examples from your career. So that is sort of why we see that work experience trending so high. But we also tell people don't let that discourage you from applying if you fall below that average. If you are able to articulate why this program is the right fit for you at this time in your career, that's really all we're looking at there. So a holistic application review process, and just connecting with our team, offline and online, but offline from this forum, obviously, and just getting all those questions answered one-on-one. We're happy to help you.
And I should mention, in terms of the modules, some of the names really convey how different your online MBA is. Like Module 1 is creating value for business and society. Module 2, managing performance with data. There's leading with integrity, assessing and managing risk. So as opposed to the accounting, finance, marketing, strategy, et cetera, you're getting this more holistic and different view of the world of business and your place in it. Now, Haley, how about you? How do you assess candidates and how should they assess your program?
Yeah, so I would definitely reiterate what Victoria and Aaron have been talking about as far as asking questions, reaching out to admissions teams, reaching out to our program, so you can really get a feel for the program and whether or not it's the right fit for you. I also really encourage folks to take some time before they get too far into the process to really reflect on what it is they're trying to get out of an MBA experience. I think having that clear sense of purpose before you dive in will really help kind of push you in one direction or the other. As far as our end, we also review applications on a holistic basis. Kind of going beyond that, I think just one thing that might be helpful to add or something to keep in mind if you're thinking about starting an application with Northeastern, one of our core focuses for the university, and this is really spearheaded from the very top with President Ayoun, is this idea of making every Northeastern learner robot proof. And what this means is that in the age of, rapidly advancing technologies, thinking through how do you make sure that you and your job are not ultimately replaced by a robot? And Northeastern's answer to this question is cultivating what we call strong human skills. So things like collaboration, creativity, entrepreneurship, empathy, cultural agility, things that a robot will never be able to do. This is kind of our superpower. So with this in mind, we're looking for students that show an openness to developing skills beyond just our traditional course material. So some things you could ask yourself as you're evaluating Northeastern or starting an application and maybe writing a personal statement are things like, can you demonstrate your communication skills, in a writing sample? Are you willing to put yourself out there and network with the industry leaders and guest speakers that we're bringing to our classes? What are some of the innate human skills that you possess that you might be able to leverage to make you indispensable despite rapid technological change? And of course, we don't expect you to have all of these answers today, but we do ask that you come with the willingness to expand your horizons during your time with us.
I love programs that make sure that algorithms will not replace us in this day of generative AI and everything else out there.
Absolutely.
Listening to you over the next 25 minutes that we've done, I'm convinced this is the thing to do. Go and get an online MBA. You have the flexibility. You're able to stay on top of subjects that are really crucial to your business success. You're future-proofing your career. So the questions I think some applicants might have is, okay, look, this almost sounds too good to be true. So what am I going to sacrifice? Am I going to sacrifice getting to know my classmates well, getting to have a true mentorship relationship with a faculty member, not really being able to replicate the networking or the mentoring that I would get in a full-time residential program? Haley, what do you say to those concerns?
I think that's a great question and something that we hear all the time as prospective students are starting to evaluate this idea of an online MBA. And here at Northeastern, we definitely understand the importance of networking as a vital part of an MBA experience. So our OMBA really aims to strike the balance between this idea of flexibility and community engagement. We seek to develop community among our cohort in a few different ways. One example is our faculty connect sessions, which I spoke about a little bit earlier on the call, but these are these weekly live Zoom calls that you can join and get to know your fellow classmates and your faculty more. Often our faculty will bring clients or colleagues with them, and that just adds to the network you can grow virtually in these sessions. All your students are also able to access our Graduate Career Center, which is a really excellent resource available to all of our graduate students. They offer tons of different services, including things like interview prep, resume feedback, career guidance. I heard last week one of our students wanted a little additional support on his public speaking skills. So I was able to meet with his career advisor, and they had kind of a one-on-one mentorship where they talked about public speaking, which is really cool. We know that this is an online program, but human interaction is really great and helpful. So we aim to host, about 2 in-person events for the OMBA community for those located in the New England area. We actually just had some in-person engagement at the end of October. We had a networking night at a restaurant in downtown Boston. And then the next day we hosted a kind of a one-day professional development conference for our students, where they got to hear from the dean of the business school and a bunch of different faculty members. And as someone who also is part of this community and always, sending off emails and making phone calls, it felt really good to be able to have that, connection every few months and kind of grow that community.
Indeed. Erin, your response to some of the concerns that some applicants might have about studying online?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing I want to note is that we have a very strong sense of cohort identity within each of our AMBA cohorts. It's people, they wear it proudly. On a webinar, they introduce themselves. They say, my name is so-and-so. I'm part of AMBA 4, AMBA 6, whatever it is. And each cohort is actually quite large. So that's something I'll come back to in just a second, but we have both spring and fall entries. So spring, anywhere around 350 to 400 students in each class. Fall, we usually have about 550 students or more in each class. So it's a pretty large program in and of itself. And more so than just your AMBA identity, your cohort identity, you are still a BU graduate student. You are a graduate student at Boston University. So similarly, if we have students who are in the greater Boston area, you are allowed to come on campus and study in the library. You are allowed to come to any events that are for BU graduate students. The only way in which we sort of put any limitation on that is if there are population specific restricted events for, full-time MBA students specifically or residential MBA students specifically, but otherwise you are invited to come and be a part of this community, even if you are in an online program. Similarly, we have, I'll touch on this maybe a little bit later in one of the next questions, but we have affinity groups that are both sort of socially oriented as well as professionally oriented. So we have a management and consulting group, we have a healthcare oriented group, we have a tech oriented group. So a lot of sort of professional development opportunities actually develop organically from the students that are involved in those affinity groups. And then finally, as I alluded to, I think the most formal networking actually happens informally with our student body itself. Through that peer-to-peer networking, you have anywhere from 350 to 550 other students right in the same Zoom as you, who span so many different industries, who are often at the manager, director, VP level. And if you're trying to get somewhere, the best person that might be able to get you there is the person on the screen right next to you. So I think that is actually a huge advantage of the scope of our program. And where we actually see a lot of that professional development happening is just in a peer-to-peer fashion. That being said, in terms of formal resources that online MBA students have, you have access to Handshake, which is a sort of career and job opportunity platform, as well as VMOC, which provides a lot of those same resources for sort of career prep, interviews, and resume editing and things like that. And online MBA students have access to all of those things, as well as any BU-wide resources that any BU graduate students have access to. So while it may feel a little bit different than in-person networking, just know that those resources and opportunities are definitely still there with the Questrom Online MBA.
Great. Victoria, how do you replicate the networking and the mentorship, the career development that someone would get in a full-time program?
I love what Erin was saying about that peer-to-peer connection. I feel like a lot of students don't necessarily think about that when they're considering an online program. And in all of our classes, we do require students to introduce themselves in the beginning of the semester in the online discussion board. And I can say, as a student myself, I read through all of those and I connect with people on LinkedIn all the time. I'm interested in their backgrounds. Similarly, attending those optional synchronous sessions and office hours to get to know your peers in the program, and then also your professors as a peer too, right? Those professors are fantastic mentors, network connectors for all of our Isenberg students. So always encourage students to use that peer-to-peer interaction with a professor. Now, in addition to that, like organic networking in the classroom setting, virtual realm, we have a fantastic online career and professional development platform. We call it iConnect. That's offered by our Office of Career Success. And in there is a suite of resources to include resume guides, cover letter crafting, workshops, elevator pitch workshops as well. There are recordings of past workshops, there are alumni panels, and there's hand-selected job postings for specific career program or degree programs. So online MBA is tagged, and any job postings that online MBA students would be eligible for are quotable. So that's a fantastic platform available for all of our online students and all of our on-campus students as well. You can also sign up for a one-on-one call with a career coach if you want to. And then if any campus recruiters are coming to visit the Univ campus, you can always come and attend as well for career fairs or just campus nights. In addition to what the Office of Career Success has to offer in the virtual realm, we also offer some networking opportunities in Univ, similar to what Northeastern is offering for local candidates in their program. I just attended the Boston networking event a couple months ago, and it's an incredible event right downtown in Boston. It's actually open to all current students and alumni. And across all of our programs, so you can mix in with online MBA students, on-campus MBA students, and all of our specialized master's students as well, and to really just continue to expand your network. In addition to these, career and professional development resources that we have available, we also offer those optional hybrid courses in Boston and Worcester for students interested in really engaging more in the curriculum. We offer a core curriculum in Boston and Worcester every fall and spring semester, a couple classes each fall and spring, not big class. So students can come to class, you get fed as well, so students are mingling and learning at the same time. And many of our professors bring in industry professionals to speak on whatever they're learning about in the curriculum as well. So continuing to expand. And that really summarizes the majority of our networking opportunities. And just circling back to what Erin was saying, those peer-to-peer connections that you make are incredible. And then tapping into the alumni network too. We have over 30,000 alumni living and working in 80 countries, and all of our alumni are mentors, networking for Isenberg.
Well, there you have it. Lots to consider, a lot of information, a lot of options across the board, great flexibility, and the chance to earn an MBA while you still can maintain your salary, have the option of spreading it out or doing it very quickly in as little as 2 years or so. And the beauty of all this is as you learn, you can apply what you learn in the world of work immediately, which a full-time MBA cannot do. So if you're interested and want to know more, the best place to start is really the websites of all these schools. The websites are really filled with a lot of nitty-gritty information on the courses, the core, the electives, the concentrations, the modules, so that you really get a good sense of what you're basically signing up for. And I'm sure Victoria, Erin, and Haley would be very happy to have a chat with you. I think another really good thing to do is if you can attend a class either live or even asynchronous. You should ask to do that, maybe even talk to a current student or a recent alum who can give you sort of the nitty-gritty of the program from the front lines. Victoria, Erin, and Haley, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciated it and really enjoyed the session.
Thank you so much, John.
Thank you so much.
And for all of you out there, good luck in making the choice. It's you got 3 great programs here. Look at them all and make your decision. This is John Byrne with Poets and Quants.